My name is Nicole Benner. This is my recovery story. I grew up in a village called Summerdale near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. My childhood was, at that point I thought it was normal, but it was very toxic and trauma related. There was abuse, things like that going on. So my dad had mental health issues. I remember when him and my mom separated, he had to go inpatient for 14 days. He liked to play with guns when he got intoxicated and hold people hostage. So that's when I first seen it for myself, what mental health was, and that first time somebody said mental health. I started experiencing it probably before then because of the trauma. I didn't know that that's what it was until probably about 12 or 13 years old. I realized what depression and anxiety was, having symptoms, but my family wasn't a believer in mental health. So you couldn't say that's what it was, you just dealt with it and moved on. When I was, 28 years old, I got some medical diagnoses, and I was told that I probably would be crippled in the next 10 years and not walking and things like that. My marriage was very volatile. My daughters, 3 and 7 at the time, and were seeing this, and their father being physical with me. That's when I knew that my medical was not getting any better. I was destroying that too with staying in the marriage. The children were there and they were seeing this, and I didn't want that future for them. And I knew that I had to do something. When I separated from him, I was the only caretaker. I had to work on myself mentally and physically. I had to go in and do a lot of physical therapy, as well as mentally prepare myself for the journey taking place. I wasn't in a healthy state, but I didn't have nobody to help with the kids either. So I just, while they were at school, that's all I did was work on myself until, well, always. I never stopped, and I never will, because with mental health, you can't stop. You always have to be looking at it and seeing what's happening and what's coming up. But that's what fueled that inner part of knowing that they're going to have me to look up to, and I got to show them something. What is a strong woman going to look like in their eyes? Not wanting them to follow the same steps of my mom and myself and my sister and probably my grandma and great grandma, and all the things that they've gone through. I wanted to break that cycle with them. I didn't want to see them in that kind of relationship or live that kind of life, and knew that I had a lot to work on to do that part of myself. So every time I think I'm here, something else shows up and I'm like, oh wow, no, I got this more to go. So that being said, I was in services again, and I kept continuing to go on and push myself, working on myself, self-help books at home. Never went to groups or anything like that until, every decade's a little different, but in my 40s is when I started going to groups. That did a lot for me too. I took this toxic family group for every week for 2 years. I was going extra more than I had to. She kept making the joke that I could probably run her group because I was there so much. But learning all the dynamics of my household that I grew up in, then the dynamics of my kids and what they were growing up in, then as we get older and what that looks like with their kids, it goes on and on. And how do we fix those? So that's what got me into working in the field then. Then I realized there's other parts. I started in drugs and alcohol. Then I was working as a peer specialist for that and running, I started working program, warm handoff program. I lost my son to addiction. That pushed me into working more, and I was probably working 80 hours a week. It fueled my passion. Just kept going from there. Then I realized, wow, I didn't deal with my grief. So then had to take a step back again and look at that. And that's when I'm like, chicken or the egg? Here's mental health. This is where it stems from. I gotta go back to this root and take care of that. And then I've been going to different meetings outside, support groups, different things like that to continue on. The impact that I wanna make is to know, for people to know that they don't have to be alone. They're not in this alone. There is help out there. That the more that I'm talking to other people and they're getting well, and as a supervisor, that's why I became a supervisor, was so that I could touch other people, that they could mentor that many more people. I could be a CPS or a CRS, but I can only help so many people with my caseload of that, where if I'm helping this many CPSs or CRSs, then they can help that many more people. There's so many people out here going without services and not receiving help and don't know that they can, or feel like there's nothing out there that can help them. And I'm just hoping that we get out there to tell people that there is help and they can get better.